Hello everybody and welcome back to the news. Yes, glorious news. Now before we get into the main video, I just want to quickly say that I might be bringing back the Q&A if questions are good, so if you are into that idea, then leave them down in the comments or maybe on my Twitter feed. But today's news is, well, it's a bit of a mixed bag. There's one or two good things, one or two maybe not so good things as well. We've got the delayed Q&A, Darker Nights, which I'm very happy about, WoW being in the Hall of Fame, and the topic of PvP. I'll save it for the end, but I've got a feeling the PvP crowd have got a real thing on their hands. So, first of all, the Q&A delay. Well, you could say this caused me to sort of proc in rage when I found out about it. I was proper pissed, like Dennis from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. I was untethered, and my rage knew no bounds. It was that level of pissed. But here's the actual news. So, the developer Q&A that they were going to have on the 6th of June to answer people's concerns about, quote, tough questions, has been delayed until the 13th of June. Now, first of all, this is not a massive and important bit of news. It's more a case of the straw that broke the camel's back. After all the missed deadlines, the moved goalposts, and the backtracking, they couldn't even pull off a darn Q&A on time, especially after they, in terms of PR, kind of successfully doused themselves in oil and jumped into a fire. So yeah, and this was not only any Q&A. Ian specifically said he wanted to talk about the tough issues, including flying. And to the guy's credit, afterwards, he did mention, after the Q&A delay was, covered, or it broke anyway, he said, I'm going to cover, like, garrison malaise, flying, world content, outdoor stuff. So when the Q&A does happen, I'm really looking forward to it, because if he does properly tackle those issues, then more power to him, and that's the brave thing to do. And really, I think for me, this was just a bit of frustration in a time where I'd say a lot of people feel like the designers are taking more steps backwards rather than forwards. Something which they, as I'm going to cover in a bit in this video, seem to have done again with PvP, which is a little bit unfortunate, though I do see what they're going for with the PvP change. But honestly, they don't even need a Q&A to address people's concerns. The worries are very, very clear. People aren't that keen in garrisons, or at least many. Obviously not everyone, and if you don't fall into a category, then more power to you. You're having fun, so I can't really fault you for that. Many people are concerned about no flying, some of the PvP people are worried about balance in Ashran, and I think a lot of us who enjoy things outside of arenas and raids are a bit worried about the state of world content. And yeah, like going back and doing old raids for money and transmog can be a good bit of fun, but you'd expect there to be stuff to do in Draenor considering how the expansion is young. And, these are the concerns that are quite obvious, and a written statement or a video or whatever tackling these issues I think would have done the job. It wouldn't have required to be a specific time or anything like that, and more importantly, it probably wouldn't have needed to be delayed. I mean, hell, the most interesting person who talks about World of Warcraft these days is actually Ghostcrawler, despite him not even working for Blizzard anymore, which is a bit of a sad reflection on the state of developer communication. I don't think the developers should just listen to players' feedback and take it verbatim all the time, because, too many cooks spoil the broth. But I think Ghostcrawler's school of communication was one that was actually quite successful. Now, of course, Ian could have just had something come up, and if that's the case, then, go pre-record it, or just make a forum post that directly answers the stuff that people sort of cares about. Ian is not the only high-up designer in WoW, but that said, given the last sort of interview performance, I think Tom Chilton maybe wouldn't have been the best idea. Because, man, Tom Chilton really knows how to say some funky shit. Oh, that Gamescom interview. Still, actually, a lot of the things which Tom said in that Gamescom interview, which did worry a lot of people, myself included, have since turned out not to be the case. I mean, yeah, we know about Tanan being pushed back to 6.2, etc., but we do know that Warlords of Draenor will probably last more than a year, will probably have more than 2 raid tiers, or at least more patches than just 6.2, so a lot of the big concerns from that Chilton interview are actually not really that bad. But anyway, back on topic. Tweet your questions with the hashtag WarlordsQA. Post your questions in the forum, and hopefully another week of questions and feedback will just add to the weight of what they're seeing. And, I guess just the wider state of the dev communication is a little bit saddening, and there has been definitely an internal policy shift, which is actually something that Ghostcrawler has himself recently said. I know there is a lot of, or at least was at the time, a lot of, OMG, fire Ghostcrawler, Ghostcrawler's stupid. but if I'm honest, I never really had much of an issue with the guy's way of doing things. It seems like right now they've just jumped off the deep end into the loony bin after his departure, and of course I'm not attributing any of that to Ghostcrawler leading, as it is all a team effort, but it more looks like since that rough era there have been some internal shifts in how they do things, both in terms of the wider design and some communication, and I did love Ghostcrawler's communication. The dev water cooler posts and the constant interaction were great, with I think one of the main highlights being his famous "Wow, dungeons are hard" post, which, you know, maybe it was decently controversial, but it was a developer actually going out there and stating a big thing, and more importantly, sort of stating it to the community on the official site where people would see it. I thought that took A, lot of balls, and I think it was B, just something that maybe garnered respect. I know at the time I kind of did respect him for it. But anyway, let's move on to good bits of news. Yes, good things. Darker Nights. Now, patch 6.0 brought Darker Nights in parts of the Eastern Kingdoms, though many other parts of the world are still super bright at night, currently in the game. And I kind of wish those Darker Nights were a little bit darker, but that's a bit beside the point for now. Patch 6.2 is bringing Darker Nights to much of Northern Kalimdor, which I think is excellent. And I would love it if they would also bring back some of the weather effects that used to be in the game from vanilla. I've seen YouTube videos of them, and even just from memories way back when I played the game in TBC and things like that, I've always found them to be very atmospheric and very immersive. I wonder maybe if they're worried about there being gameplay implications because the weather's so strong people can't see stuff, but if that is the worry, just put enhanced weather as a toggle in the graphic settings, and just let us have that really nice weather if we want it, because props to whoever at Blizzard made that weather, it looked really nice, and the sound effects were great, and yeah, I'd like that back. But hey, we're getting Darker Nights in 6.2 for some areas, and that's absolutely something to be happy about. Next, let's go on to the topic of Hellfire Citadel. Now, the only reason I'm talking about this is because they posted a preview of the upcoming raid instance of course, Hellfire Citadel. There isn't a massive amount to talk about here, but hey, the pictures they gave are actually very pretty. And just to relay to all of you really, what I've heard from people who have done raid testing is the bosses seem to be in a very good state. From what I can tell, watching all the Fat Bosses stuff, the fights just look to be really fun and really varied. Honestly, I just can't wait to see another raid instance. I think it's the best content that Blizzard designs, so, I mean, obviously the more the merrier, as long as you don't have, I don't know, a 50 boss long tier. That would be a bit weird. But as much as I'm not hyped about, say, the Tanan Apex's mission stuff, what I will say about this patch is, like, at least they've balanced it so that Tanan's gameplay will actually matter to alt progression, unlike, say, the main content of Draenor in 6.0. So with this patch, I'd say we're going to be getting a really awesome raid. We're at least going to get world content that matters, which is a plus, even if it's maybe not the best. So maybe things are, I think they are on the up, on balance. Now, in terms of item levels, we don't have any particular changes at the minute to the previously planned ramping up item level system, but LFR requires item level 650, and the gear in LFR ranges from 675 to 685. I'd rather it was just 675 so that Mythic Dungeons were clearly better for gearing, but on the bright side, the final boss of a Mythic Dungeon will drop item level 700, or maybe it's 705, roughly that gear, so there is still a clear advantage to doing those. But overall, the point is here that the endgame progression of Warlords of Draenor does look like it's going to be a bit more fun this time round, and I've got no reason to suspect that this raid won't be up to the usual, just completely fantastic quality of a Warcraft raid. Next, let's just quickly mention the Hall of Fame. So, World of Warcraft got itself a place in the first video game Hall of Fame. It's in there along with Pong, Pac-Man, Tetris, Mario Bros, and Doom. So very prestigious company to be with, and while World of Warcraft was not the first MMO, I think as time has told it was certainly the one that really captured the most imaginations, and I'd say its name is pretty deserved in there. Next, let's talk about PvP, and I know not everyone's into the PvP stuff, so I left it to the end of this video, but oh man, it seems like people are not particularly happy, and this time I can definitely see the frustration. Now, as always, I hardly ever PvP, but I think it's only right to give some airtime to the concerns and issues of PvP on the channel. So what's all this about? Well, take a guess. Have you guessed yet? Oh, it's Ashran. Of course it's Ashran. It's always cocking Ashran. So, first a quick whirl on what's going on with the PvP gearing. Basically, you've got your standard set of gear which you purchase with conquest points, just like in any other season. What's different though, this time round, is that in 6.2 you will have offset or off-tier, to give you a sort of, I don't know, a raider's term, off-tier bits of armor that are handled differently in terms of their secondary stats. From what I can gather, this mostly surrounds gear that has versatility, but essentially for some people, that stuff is best in slot. So ideally they will want to have some of the main PvP set, but then some of the offset stuff as well. Now, I would have imagined that you would just be able to choose what bit of gear you wanted to purchase, whether it be the main set or a non-set, with conquest points, so that way people could gear up in the gear that actually works for their spec. Nope, that's not the case. This offset gear is only going to appear in an item called a Champion Strongbox. And how do you get them? Well, you can get 2 a week. You can get 1 by winning 3 rated battlegrounds, and you can get 1 by heading into Ashran and doing the weekly quest there, which is to kill a certain amount of players. And if you're not aware, by the way, one of the things they're changing with Ashran in 6.2 is adding in this weekly quest which gives you Conquest and a Strongbox. To match up with that, or to balance things, they've also removed Conquest from the various events, and things like killing the end boss, so it does seem like they are trying to focus Ashran away from its PvE elements, which I'd say is definitely a good thing. But back onto gear. If you want to be with the gear curve, once again, you are going to be forced into Ashran. Not only as a part of the Conquest cap, Ashran only, but you can now get a 100% chance for a a bit of random epic quality gear from this weekly quest, and I really don't like this. I think it's a bit silly. Rather than trying to perhaps add a new arena or a new RBG, or sorry, just Battleground, what they've done is they've decided to just double down on Ashran, making it seemingly even more mandatory than it was for players to go into it. And I've talked about why I don't think Ashran's I don't think it's very good, and I've said that many times, so there's no point in going over it again. But what gets to me is just how this PvP gearing process is going to be. So you get your weekly Conquest caps worth of gear, and then you get 2 random offset items from, or off armor, sort of off tier items from these Champion Strongboxes. RNG is going to play quite a factor here. What if someone doesn't get the piece that they want for quite a while? What if someone gets duplicate items? All of these things actually play into PvP concerns a lot more, because each season is essentially a soft gear reset. Decent luck will propel someone ahead of the gear curve, while bad luck will throw you under the gear curve. Now, when you're fighting a raid boss, that doesn't matter as much, but when it's PvP combat, that matters a lot more, because ideally I think what a lot of people want is for it to be perfectly balanced, and then the skill of PvP is, are you a better player than the other player, with as few sort of ulterior factors really playing into that. Again though, this seems to be Blizzard trying to patch up its game design problems by using rewards, which I think is it's an effective way of doing things, but it's also sometimes poor and lazy, and it doesn't fix the underlying issue. Ashran sucks. Yes, this will increase participation if you put a weekly epic behind it, but it's still going to suck. That's the issue. It's the kind of thing where, yeah, you'll get more people into Ashran, but also those people will burn out because they're in there for a carrot and stick reason, rather than they actually want to be in there because it's fun. Like in Tier 18, as an example, we see this silly ramping up item level system inside Hellfire Citadel, in addition to all the various RNG crap that happens to gear. And look, all you need to do, Blizzard, is make content that's awesome, and then put non-complicated, non-contrived rewards behind it that just make sense. I think they're just trying to buff up some of their design issues by saying, hey, shiny rewards, and just shaking rewards in front of us. When really, for a lot of things, well, on the raiding front, they can just let the quality of their raids speak for themselves. I think, unfortunately for the PvP players, the quality of Ashran just does not reflect well on Blizzard. So yeah, the raids are fine, but with PvP, well, Ashran ain't well received, and it seems like a lot of classes are in a very poor state. And I think they might be doing themselves a bit more harm than good here. If you are a PvPer, what do you want from gearing? From what I imagine, if it is going to be within something similar to the current system, people just want to get a fixed amount of conquests from their cap every week, and be able to gear up with the gear that they want in terms of stats, and just that's that. Gearing is simple, gearing is at the same pace for everyone who's fully involved in PvP, which means that the top end of PvP players progress at roughly the same rate, so for the really competitive people, it's still competitive and RNG doesn't play into it or anything like that, and everyone's good and happy. That's what I think people want. If that's not the case, do be sure to let me know, because as I said, I'm not hardly far from an expert, an absolute noob when it comes to like the really hardcore PvP stuff. Anyway, that is it for today's news. Sorry for stuff being a bit of a downer, but hey, Darker Nights are great, Hellfire Citadel looks like a lot of fun, so there are definitely some plus points to take away from all of this. Now, tomorrow I will have hopefully a pretty fun video. It's either going to be about whether removing Justice and Valor was a good idea, or it's going to be me basically doing every single raid in the game that I can solo and computing, or just like working out a bunch of gold making stuff. So whatever it is, it should be pretty fun. Until then, thank you very much for watching, and I will see you next time.